What's going on, party people? Phantom here, and today I'm going to give my thoughts on the Black Ops 4 beta in its current state. I want to try to hit on as much as I can while avoiding being extremely negative, but just realize that I'm a very passionate Call of Duty player, and I've played every single title since the old COD 2 days, so I just want to see this next game in the series succeed, and in doing so, I might be a little negative at times. One other note to mention is I might end up jumping on the bandwagon on some of the things that have been said on the subreddit, but the majority of these opinions are mine and mine only. But like I said, I will touch on a few things that are currently on the subreddit. But enough chit chat, let's get into it. So how I'm going to break down this video is that I'm going to talk about the following things which I'm about to list, and then we'll kind of do a mishmash at the end and see how things go. So what I'm going to talk about are the maps, the weapons, specialist, and then the last section, which is mishmash, is kind of too strong, please nerf, or Zomagod needs buff, where I talk about things from the subreddit amongst other things that are kind of bugging me about the game. In regard to the maps that we currently have available for play, we have Gridlock, Seaside, Frequency, which is the map shown in this video, and Contraband. Overall, the maps have a decent size to them, and they don't take too much to traverse, which is good since there is no advanced movement in the game. We do have a slide and an unlimited run, but you know, it could be worse. One of the things that these maps do have in spades is freaking glorious color. Treyarch has always been pretty good in regards to adding in color to their games, and Black Ops 4 isn't the exception to this rule. Contraband is the definite standout in my opinion, and is the map I generally like to play on due to its color. A rather small complaint that I have is that the majority of these maps that I've listed can seem congested at times, or have specific sniper nests set up, which can be very annoying. Gridlock, I'm looking at you. But overall, the maps aren't going to change up until its October release, and it just requires myself and the community to come up with ways to get these other players out of those spots instead of bitching about it. In general, the map design is decent, and I don't feel the need to constantly be spinning around 360 degrees at all times because of the extreme sight lines and openings that COD World War II had. So, for right now, I give the maps a thumbs up. When it comes to the weapons in the game, I'm not going to comment too much because I expect to see weapons like the MX-9 get the nerf stick to them, as they are extremely dominant right now. But the weapon balance is slightly questionable for some and on target for others. A change again is the fact that shotguns are now secondaries in the game, giving it a somewhat throwback to Modern Warfare 2, and they aren't monsters like they were back then or like they were in World War II with its combat shotgun. Think of a shotgun more as a cleanup weapon, which can be used as a primary, but you're going to need to use some perks and other choices within the pick 10 to make them a little more viable. The last thing I want to talk about with the weaponry is the new operator mods in the game. What are operator mods? It's a specific trait for a weapon that is unique to said weapon. Like what, you might ask? Well, how about a freaking 600 round belt-fed SMG? Yeah, you heard that right.
You think this is funny?
In a cosmic sort of way, yes.
Well, Mr. Funny Man, is this how you get your sick kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary crabby... Oh my goodness! Squidward!
There are others that turn another SMG into a freaking Warthog A10, otherwise known as the burnt gun, alongside of Dragon's Breath rounds for the shotguns, which I didn't see that coming, thank you COD World War II, and a one-shot kill pistol if you get them in the head. It's pretty neat overall, and what I will say about these mods is that they're fun to use. But we're going to have to see if the fun lasts when people are all running around with fire shotguns while sliding and jumping into your face. Like I said, overall, you can't comment on the weapons too much because they're going to be changed and we still don't have the full list of what we're going to get at launch. But again, right now, weapon selection is pretty good, and I also give it a thumbs up. Well, the specialists are back for better or for worse, and there isn't much to say about them. I know I keep kind of saying there isn't much to say about X, but it's the truth. You have to remember that this is a beta, and while I'm seeing things that are overpowered or maybe underpowered, Treyarch has already mentioned it in the subreddit that these things are going to change. So I'm just kind of giving that initial view, what I'm seeing, what I'm playing right now. But to move back on to topic, they work similarity to how they were in Black Ops 3, where your weapon and gadget charge up during the round for general use. The better you're doing, the faster the charge for your primary weapon. The gadgets are unique in the fact that you don't take a pick 10 slot with it, and being that the beta is in play, not a lot of people are running the grenades, throwing axes, and other stuff that fits into those specific gadget slots. And while game modes like Team Deathmatch allow you to have 2 of the same specialists in the game, which thank God we don't have a lobby filled with all ruins with the gravity spike nonsense like in Black Ops 3, other game modes like Control only allow 1 specialist per person. This can and will be an issue if you're playing in solo queue like I do from time to time, because I've been on my fair end of losses throughout the beta just because someone took recon and didn't use them the right way like they should have. This problem is apparent in Rainbow Six Siege as well, but it's just something that I have to get over. In regards to who my favorite specialists are at the time of the beta, it's a toss-up between Torque, who I like to call Discount Wolverine because look at him. Look at him. Or Nomad. Torque puts up Concertina Wire, which hurts and slows enemy movement alongside of his main weapon, which is a shield barrier which emits a microwave which can kill enemies. He is fantastic for slowing down enemy movement, which can be great for certain modes to control choke points. Torque has a mesh mine, think of it as a tripwire, which is very hard to see, and his main weapon is the Doggo Pitbull. These mines are a royal pain in the ass if you don't look for them, and while some would call them instantly OP, I would have to say negative to that. If you run the engineer perk like I do, you can instantly spot all equipment on the map, and I never get killed by these things, or other gadgets for that matter. The dog right now is a bit too quick, and is a bullet sponge, but I have to say it is very satisfying when the doggo does get that kill. A bit of fair warning as I enter the too strong please nerf or oh my god please buff area, as it can be somewhat negative at times. But that being said, here we go. There's definitely a few things I want to talk about, and 2 of them specifically are the inclusion of the stem shot and body armor as it exists right now. I know that the body armor is getting its own separate thread on the subreddit right now, and they're talking about how they're going to change it, but right now I'm going to talk about the stem shot first and then go to the body armor. I think the stem shot needs to be nerfed in some way because right now it gives you 3 different things. The ability to heal whenever you want, it heals you faster, and you keep your gun up while healing. All 3 of those things together make this thing crazy overpowered. As it stands right now, if you don't run this and you do the normal stem, you have a little bit of a wait time. Think of it, I think it's about 4 to 5 seconds after you do that heal before you can actually heal again with that particular needle. You have to wait for it to fill up and then you can do it again. Also, you don't instantly heal to 150. It takes about 2 to 3 seconds to fully heal to 150. So by using the stem shot, you get all 3 of those bonuses that I just mentioned and can basically continuously heal yourself if you continue to get hit. So I think if Treyarch took out just one of those 3 things that I mentioned, it would balance this piece of equipment. As for now, you'll see a lot of players who use dexterity and slide and jump around the map, which I'm about to get to in a moment. They use that because it helps them stay alive. That's why I think it's slightly OP. So take out one of those things, like make it to where your gun doesn't come up, or make it to where the regen time is slower, and it'll balance that. The other OP piece of crap in this game right now is the damn body armor. I cannot begin to tell you how much I hate this. I lose so many gunfights because another player is wearing it, and I just can't get that last bullet off on them even though I was firing first. I know, get good, scrub, but I just don't think that someone should have an advantage like that because they have a piece of equipment on. So how do you balance it? I honestly don't know if you can. In the game at the moment, there is a specific attachment called AP rounds, which stands for armor piercing rounds, which break the armor, it just negates it completely. But I don't want to have to run that attachment all the time just because somebody might be using armor, because I gain no advantage from AP rounds if the enemy player isn't using body armor. So I'm giving up an attachment on my weapon which doesn't give me anything else if they're not using something, which is a waste of a slot from the pick 10. And right now it could just be because of the beta and I don't have enough creative slots, but maybe I can do something in the future. But right now it's just really annoying and I don't know really how to balance it. I know the community is calling for it to be removed from the game, but I don't necessarily know if that'll do it. And before I go on to the last few bits to finish up with the body armor, why this is so annoying is because of this. I'll give you a quick example. If you have a player who, in most circumstances, if they're not running body armor, they would die 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you give them body armor, and they die, they get a kill because they were wearing body armor, and they die because it broke, and they respawn, and then they get another kill, and then the next time they die because it breaks. They're basically just trading kills, and they're becoming annoying. They're not winning a gunfight because of skill, they're winning it because of a piece of equipment. And that's not necessarily something that it should be like. Crutch perks, crutch equipment have always been the bane of my existence and the community's existence since Juggernaut all the way back in COD 4. So that's why the community is really up in arms about this right now. Like I said, don't really know how to fix it, don't know how to, make it any different. But, we'll see what Treyarch decides to do. The last bit of things the last few things that I can talk about is the current meta in regards to jumping and sliding. I sigh and I kind of let out a breath of air because the slide mechanic and the jumping right now is a huge problem. It's a huge problem. Basically what happens is the current meta is you'll slide into an area and immediately jump to gain an advantage on your opponent, and I will literally run into people where if I'm shooting them in the back, their initial response is to jump. Like, I can't believe that. Normally I get the old school jump around the corner trick that old CODs used to do and people in World War II try to do. But it's, jump slide at the immediate, sign of an enemy. And it's super annoying to deal with, and they've already said they're going to do something about it. For instance, they could probably do something to the effect of make it so jumping and shooting isn't as easy to do without a perk. I know currently the perk Dexterity gives it so that you can slide even faster, and that can be a problem with this current meta. Not really sure how you could fix it. I know they're getting ready to nerf the height distance, and the more you jump, the lower you're gonna jump, but we'll have to kind of wait and see. It's one of those things where you just have to identify that player and get ready for the jump and, hope for the best. And I know while all of these have been like the please, too strong, please nerf, one of the things that definitely needs a buff in the game right now is the spawn system. I can't believe how many times I've killed an enemy and then literally slid into an area which, is completely blank and there's nobody there, to have 3 enemies pop up in front of my face. And I'm not talking like, oh, they appeared around the corner and I just wasn't ready. No, I'm talking about like magic poof out of nowhere, abracadabra shit, there they are. It really needs to be addressed by the Treyarch team right now, so I don't see people popping up all over the map. The last big thing that needs a buff in the game right now are the score streaks. These score streaks are weak. They are so weak, with the exception of the AC-130, which is in the game, which is like God tier, which it should be if it's the final streak in the game, but they don't really have any pop, anything good. Also, I can't put my turret down anywhere. My sentry gun is probably one of the worst sentry guns I've ever used in any Call of Duty game. When I get it in a care package, I just immediately change it because it's so bad. I have to spend more time finding a completely flat surface so I can deploy this thing, and it doesn't get any kills. The range of it is terrible. The lock-on time is terrible. It doesn't get any kills. It is garbage by all means. The Hellstorm is crap. The Lightning Strike is okay, but all of the streaks need a buff. Overall, I'm talking like when your score streaks are weak compared to COD World War II, you got a problem. And to wrap up the overall review or just overview of the beta. I know the last section was negative, but I do want to say I am having a blast with the game. Once I learned the mechanics, and yeah, I do slide from time to time, and slowed down my super aggressive nature I needed to play when I was doing COD World War II stuff, I started playing much better. The game currently has its flaws, and Treyarch has addressed them in the subreddit constantly throughout the beta with some really good transparent communication to the community overall. It's really amazing to see a developer do this, and I wish more multiplayer development teams would follow suit in this manner, because it's only going to make their game better and increase sales when some of the most vocal people on the planet are singing praise about the game. Now, you're always going to have the people out there who have no intention of ever buying this game and will immediately shit on it for YouTube views, but that'll happen every single year because people from the other side of the fence are always going to say that this year is the death of COD and are always looking for that quote-unquote COD killer. For me though, I'm ready for the next weekend portion of the beta and then the blackout beta in September, and hopefully when the full game releases, we'll have more maps, more guns, more specialists, and just more in store, because right now I'm definitely intrigued. So thanks for listening. I'll be back next week and next time for more videos just like this, so until then, this is Phantom and I'm signing out.